Hey everybody, welcome to more Fatal 12. We want to get right back into this because, holy crap, last episode was a doozy. I think it might actually be the longest episode I've recorded so far, but it also had a lot of shocking reveals and things going on, and yeah, so it turns out Maharu is the survivor of a previous divine selection. The winner, as it were, which is pretty impressive because she just sat there and cried the whole time as a baby. Not only that, Rinka's parents were there. Excuse me, what? Plus, of course, Parka has essentially been living in Maharu's head, her dreams, for the last 17 years. And this entire divine selection, this whole game we're playing right now, was effectively kicked off by Maharu killing herself, which required Parka to start looking for a new host. Ha! Very interesting. This raises a lot of questions. First of all, Maharu has been working under the impression that more than one person surviving is not possible because people tried to do that last time and they ended up dying. But it was a different situation. It was her and then 3 other people who had stalemated each other, but not her. And so all the stalemated ones were eliminated, left her, and she became the vessel. We don't know what would happen if it was just 2 people, though, which is the whole situation that Rinka is essentially going for. What if everybody was stalemated, not just all -1? And of course, Parka is not being entirely honest with us either, because she told us, oh, what happens then? Well, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. No. Parka knows. Parka just doesn't want to tell us, but now we know, and it's like, okay, well, this is different now. We also had this whole conversation in front of Scale, and I do wonder if that's going to mean something. If he now knows or has a better idea of what the whole divine selection thing is about in the first place, is that going to motivate him to take a different approach or have a different focus? Or is he just going to aim for Alan and Federico again? I reviewed the last videos. I'm still very confused about why Rinka might think she'd be in danger from voting Scale up, from him defending himself. There were comments made, I believe, at the beginning of the last video about her worrying about her getting eliminated or in danger or whatever if he got her information. I don't really understand how that works. Maharu had Scale's information and she was apparently just able to negate his nomination for God knows what reason. That's also a rule that was not reviewed when Parka first told us the rules back in video 2. Nothing was ever said about after you were nominated and you went up to the upper stratum there. You could nominate each other and cancel each other out by revealing cards and getting priority and stuff like that. But being able to gather cards and stop an election, a nomination, an elimination after you'd already been taken up, that is something that was never touched on. And I do find it interesting that the game hid that from us. We have no idea what happened between Scale and Maharu on the upper level, other than the fact that Maharu came down looking awfully smug. And I'm also very curious why Rinka didn't vote up Scale either, because Rinka talked in the last video about, well, I need to vote Scale up next, and that's probably going to happen, and she's pretty clear about it. And she was saying that literally 5 minutes after the last eliminations. Like, why didn't you just do that? Why didn't you just vote Scale up at the last divine selection? Why was this not... Why did you sit on that? I'm still very confused about that. The game has not been clear, but I'm hoping it clears things up in the future. It's been pretty good about covering its bases, even if it is after the fact. In any case, I think Federico, I know I said this for the last week that Federico was likely to go out, but I think this time he's definitely about to go out. Alan has a good lead on his final card. Federico has just, his spirit is broken after Odette crushed him 6 ways till Sunday, just going out on her own terms and having his cards and forcing him to reveal his cards to get her up there in the first place. And the fact that she saved his life even is just, it's all bonkers. But I am very curious what's going to happen this week, because with this new information about Parka, what is that going to motivate about us? Because if Maharu is correct, we're screwed. There's not a whole lot we can do to just push for us being the only survivor, which From the way things are playing out right now is possible. We're sort of the one in the best position at the moment, the one that everyone has the least info on. But Scale is, he's looking pretty confident about some stuff. I'm not sure what he could do, but this game might just feel like ass pulling some more rules on me, so who the hell knows. As I said, Federico is almost certainly going to get voted out. Alan, we've got info on him. We've got his cause of death through Maharu. And just the same way we're able to theorize on all of Scale's stuff, we might be able to gather his regret up. So we're kind of going in a pretty predictable direction. But it also makes me wonder how we're going to break that up. Especially, as I said, this game has multiple endings. I mentioned in the last video that I wasn't sure if it did or not. I double-checked. It definitely does. It has some good endings. It has some bad endings. I don't know if it has a true ending. I also kind of wonder if we took Odette's deal way back when we were dealing with number 4, whether that would have taken us to a bad ending or not. Have we already missed a bad ending? Have we missed a couple? I have no idea. But this week has... we had a very interesting divine selection. We had some major bombshells dropped afterwards. I am very curious to see what's going to happen with the rest of the week. Let's check it out. We're at school, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Orange text at school. My heart was racing even when I went to bed. Can't say we slept very well last night. Apparently, Rinka finally figured out that Maharu's in love with her. Again, I'm pretty sure that was confessed earlier. I also kind of wondered, maybe that was an optional scene, or something else from earlier in the game was an optional scene. And the reason there's this disconnect with Rinka is because maybe we got 2 scenes that weren't quite written terribly congruently, that weren't necessarily going to happen, and the game is kind of just fudging things. I don't know. I do kind of wonder if we've already seen some optional scenes, or maybe if we've missed some optional scenes. But anyway, part of me even entertained the thought that everything else I'd come to see and learn during Divine Selection wouldn't hold a candle to this. To what? Part of me even entertained the thought that everything else I'd come to see and learn... Maybe that's true, though. What's this? Define this. I mean, it makes sense depending on one's viewpoint of how the human heart works. Even at school, I'm unable to keep my mind off it. What, just the confession and the secrets? Maharu and Mao get there before me, so I make it a point to give them a cheery greeting to try and switch gears. Ohio! Sup, Brady? You're a bit later than usual today. Really? Morning, Rinka. Hey, Maharu, awesome to see you. Oh, look at that blushy face. Rinka's just freaking out. Boy, things are going to be awkward around Maharu for a while, ain't it? Maharu just come up to her. Hey, sweetheart, give her a little peck on the cheek. There's nothing different about Maharu today. She speaks to me like she always does, but it leaves me flustered. You'd think nothing happened last night, judging by her attitude. Well, she's been covering for this for a while now. You still got to cope. Mao can probably figure out what's going on, because she knows Maharu's in love. Mao makes no effort to hide her suspicion by staring at us. Can't blame her when I'm acting like this first thing in the morning. And we're done. Lunch? Lunch. After battling my way through a grueling gauntlet of classes with less than a third of my typical concentration, the sweet release of lunch break finally arrives. Maharu has some business with one of our teachers, so it's just Mao and myself. Oh, great. Relieving, considering I'm still not sure I can talk to Maharu normally. Yeah, but Mao's gonna know what's up. She's gonna rib you. She's gonna poke you. I sip my vegetable juice before getting started on my sandwich. Yep, there we go. Mao's not even going to beat around the bush. She's just prepare for spit out sandwich. So, Rinny, did Maharu finally confess? And the juice flies right back out of my mouth. Psy'Min called that. Whoa, amazing. I mean, it was so obvious with the way you were acting and stuff. Yeah, Rinka has zero poker face. Could you be a bit more eloquent? So you knew about her feelings for me and stuff? You might be the only gal in the world who didn't. Even Naora knows, so I'm not sure if she figured it out herself or if Maharu told her. So what's your next move? While vague, it's easy to understand what she's asking. The only thing that comes after a confession is a response. Nothing for now. I'm still not sure how to process her feelings for me. Doesn't help that I've never had anyone confess to me before, let alone another girl. What would you do if you were me? I don't know. A quick and blunt answer as she focuses more on jamming a straw into her strawberry milk. Yeah, I'm not in this position. Not me, don't care. She probably knew I was about to ask. But what I do know is that it probably took a lot of courage for Maharu to tell you. In which case, I'd say you better take it seriously as possible. So long as you give her a truly sincere answer, it should work out. I won't think any less of you if you turn her down, and she'll just go back to being your friend. Not like anything will change. Then again, I guess I'd be a third wheel if you two end up as an item, huh? Might just go to Nairn for company then. Hearing Mal ramble on helps to cheer me up a bit. Yeah, no awkward silences around this girl. Jeez. As she said, maybe I don't need to worry about this too much. I mean, I'll still take it seriously. I just won't worry about my answer affecting our friendship. Actually, wouldn't it change if I say yes? Probably. We'd be girlfriends, right? Wow, yeah, just cluing into that now. A number of questions come to mind, but I do my best to push them aside and focus on the fact that we'll still be friends regardless. I honestly thought love was just something you see on TV and in manga. Oh boy. Rinka, where do I start? Mal's face contorts in horror at what I just said. Yep, definitely freaked her out with that one. I know more or less why. Even worse, I have no way to defend what I just said, so I try to change the subject instead. Fortunately, we managed to avoid bringing it up again until after lunch. If anything, I feel like I'll be able to set it all aside for now and hang out with Maharu like always. Yeah, but what's going to happen? Where's Scale? Where's Alan? Where's Federico? I'm glad you've been confessed to, but we have other issues. Friday. Okay, we might get to an election. We might end just before an election. What's going to happen here? Friday. I spent my time thinking about both Maharu and Divine Selection. I wonder if the information we found out about Parka sitting in people's dreams, if that's inspired any particular directions of research with Naomi or anything else. Are we just processing this, or are we working on things? The possibility that both myself and Scale suggested, of everyone being able to survive, weighs on my mind again. Maharu would likely tell me not to bother if I brought it up with her. So maybe I should talk to Naomi about it instead. Am I going to get another choice? I already planned on meeting her after school anyway, so it works out. I haven't given up on learning the truth behind Divine Selection. Again, yes, what is the truth behind the truth here? We got a lot of new ideas and secrets and stuff revealed last session, but it does still raise more questions. Again, what's with the effeminate dude? Is he getting a ride in someone else's brain? Is he trucking around in Mao? Where's he been? What's his opinion on this? Are we going to see him again? Is he going to have some insights? And again, how do we stop Parka or change fate? We've been alluding to that a lot. Haven't given up on learning the truth. Going through a bunch of books and hoping for the best might not be the best approach, but I don't want to stop. I'm a little more knowledgeable when it comes to the architecture and styles related to that place now, at least. For example, the designs aren't just for show. They reflect the time periods in which they were made, and as a result of necessities from those times. Well, let's put that aside for now. I'm best off relying on Naomi. No need to be reserved at this point. I've already accepted that I need to rely on others to press forward. Yeah, we're kind of in the end game here. Again, somebody's going to get eliminated next round. Probably going to be Federico. I feel like Scale might have a way to defend himself, partly because, you know, he has a week to work on that. Partly because we seem to have this trend of one person getting eliminated a week. We haven't really had a double yet, even though I thought we would have one last week. We did have a no election that one week between Shigetsugu and you. I also think Scale's got a little bit more mileage in him. Federico's definitely kind of reached the end of his character arc, I guess you could say. Or again, I have a feeling he's just going to live at the bottle of a glass of whiskey for the week. But Scale, he's still hiding some stuff. He's still got some traction. We have things to learn about him. I have a feeling he's going to last through this next election, but Federico is not. Also you. I haven't forgotten that Maharu fainted when she tried to pet you. What is Leth about? Leth keeps showing up. Leth, true mastermind. You can't fool me. Meow. Well, well. Seems like Leth snuck into my bed when I wasn't paying attention. That serves as a reminder that I should probably change my sheets, what with summer fast approaching. I'm trying to look for consistency with things that happen when Leth is around, but I haven't noticed anything yet. Oh, Naomi's poked her head in. I don't trust Leth. Leth's got a secret. I know he does. Pardon me. Come on, it's just us, remember? I laugh when I remember that we've had a similar exchange regarding politeness upon entry before. Naomi doesn't know about Maharu confessing to me. Mao said she's aware of Maharu's feelings for me, but I feel like it's best not to bring it up with everyone. Mao caught on without me saying anything, so I'll chalk that up to a simple accident. Watch Naomi mention it immediately. Naomi's a smart one. She picks up on this stuff. The plan for today is to go through some more books for an hour, and then open up the store. Just as we've oh. Yeah, here we go. Just as we've moved over to our table and tossed a bunch of books and notebooks on it, Naomi hits me with a surprising question. So you're gonna say yes? Come on. Is this exactly what I just said, just worded differently? So have you made your decision yet? Wait, what? What are you talking about? Oh, she's flustered and blushing again. My decision? What are you talking about? Is something the matter? You said it'd be best to create a situation where none of you can elect one another, so I was wondering if you decided to speak with Scale or not. Oh, the psych out. Okay, she still doesn't know, but Rinka took that question differently, as did I. That's right, she did say she wanted to talk to Scale too. Is that going to be something that happens? Is she going to seek him out? I also remember Alan taking Federico's contact information for some reason. I wonder why the game specifically drew attention to that. A wave of relief washes over me. Yeah, I nearly panicked over the possibility of having her realize the situation with Maharu. Again, Naomi's smart. And you have no poker face. I've already decided on my path going forward. I haven't told her about my parents either. Maharu's likely to tell her soon enough. Knowing that, she might be a bit confused by my statement. But that's the answer I've reached, though. Nothing will change it. I felt a real connection with my parents when Maharu told me about them. I'm much younger and less competent than they were at the time, but the fact remains that I would do everything I could to help save a powerless child. That fundamental desire serves as the link between us. In fact, that may very well have been what's influenced my actions up till now. In other words, I've been acting on instinct. Everything I did for Keiko, Sonia, Shigetsugu was all by my own will, yet at the same time it wasn't. The blood flowing through my veins is what spurred me on. Your path? That all changes now. I won't let my blood or my instinct influence how I live my life anymore. I'm not doing this because I want to save anyone. I'm doing this because I want to live. I want to return to the normal life I had with all of you. I'm fine with eliminating the other participants till it's just me and Maharu. What happens after that is anybody's guess. The fact of the matter is that I don't care about the others anymore. Oh, getting a little cold here. The best I can do for them is acknowledge what they did during their lives and make sure to never forget that. Are you sure you still want to shoulder this burden with me, knowing that? Scenery from the park flashes through my mind. I told her not long after Divine Selection had started that I may not have it in me to shoulder the burden of eliminating other participants. Naomi offered to shoulder it with me back then, but the resolve I have now wasn't a factor before. I had yet to awaken to who I really was. If there's anyone I have to thank for doing so, it's... There we go. That's the Rink I know. What's that mean? Naomi continues, struggling to overcome her shyness. Well, what I mean is, nothing's changed. About you and Maharu being the only survivors, and about me being willing to shoulder that burden with you. You don't need to worry at all. Naomi answers with a smile. Now it's all clear. Everything I do from here on will be of my own will. This is my path now. I'm curious about Scale, though. It's possible that he opted not to break through Maharu's defenses because he knew that you would elect him later. He opted not to break through Maharu, so is that the reason Maharu survived? She essentially talked him out of it, and he could have broken through? Again, I want to know what happens in that upper stratum when you've got a situation like that. We skipped that over, and I'm not cool with that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he thinks he can win me over to his side, hence why he left us the way he did. It's entirely possible that I would have taken his suggestion to heart before Maharu's confession, too. It's far easier to think about ways for everyone to survive. Looking back, I was basically turning my eyes away from reality. He's likely to pull something soon as his response to Maharu's admission. At the very least, he'll be looking to delay his inevitable election. Oh! Is that the scale? Or is that Maharu calling for a scale? Just as Naomi finishes her sentence, the phone rings. Not my cell phone, the store's landline. Probably scale then, because Maharu would just call her cell. All inquiries regarding orders and supplies go straight to my gran right now. This isn't a place that requires reservations, so it's rare for that phone to ring at all. Scale? Knowing that, I prepare myself before picking it up. Scale? Good evening. Thank you for contacting Lionhouse. Ohayou gozaimasu. Scale? Yep. Good evening yourself. It's your good pal, Scale Jones. I still haven't looked up your cell phone, so I settled for this. I make eye contact with Naomi when I hear his voice. No doubt she's realized it's him, too. I knew it was him before you picked it up. There's something disturbing about what he said, though. God, I wish this game had a log so I could go look at what that was. The way he said it implies that he could find information pertaining to me whenever he wanted. Well, I guess. I'd like to talk things out, just the two of us, if possible. No need to worry. It's only regarding divine selection. I know a bar called Milk Crown nearby. We're going to use that so the game developers don't have to come up with any new assets. Would you mind meeting me around 8 p.m.? Actually, no, wait. That's where I used to meet everyone anyway. What am I thinking? Never mind. He doesn't even expect me to decline. Once I agree, he shares the bar's location. Turns out it's not too far at all. I can walk there without issue. I look forward to seeing you. The call lasts a mere 2 minutes. Did things work out? Sounds like he wants to talk. Probably thinks I'm the easier target since Maharu won't hear him out, but that's fine. I'll make my way over later. I hope you're okay. We've only got 2 days. It is Friday. Naomi looks concerned at first, but nods in agreement a moment later. Are we just going there? Oh, we're not even going to go over the research or nothing. Maybe they just didn't learn anything and we'll touch on that in passing. I don't expect a whole lot of progress to be made in that area, to be honest. I've never been a fan of the atmosphere in this part of a town at night. I come in regular clothing, but that doesn't stop random guys from trying to chat me up. There are also plenty of drunks around, Federico, despite it not even being 8 p.m. I come across a sign that I definitely would have missed had I not known about it beforehand, as I make my way through this awful place. Why not just meet at Lionhouse? She literally has her own place. Bring your own booze if you want it. Milk Crown is located here. Its entrance is partially underground. Music from a popular rock band plays over the store's speakers. It's an all-girl band called Silky Strawberry, if I remember right. I've seen them on TV before. As for the customers, there's only one. A lone man sitting at the counter. I half expect this to be Federico, but it's probably Scale. Yep. Yo, Federico and I use this place for our meetings, so I've become something of a regular. Well, Federico ended up getting banned after stirring up some trouble here, it seems. Yeah, I guess you weren't here for that. What do you want? My treat. I'll have some juice. Whatever's fine. It's obvious someone underage like me shouldn't be in a place like this. There are numerous bottles of various types of alcohol lined up on the shelf behind the counter. They seem expensive, judging by the intricate bottle designs. Scale has a glass already. Inside is a slightly transparent fizzy yellow drink. Obviously, I have no clue what it is, but it doesn't seem like beer. While nervous about being in this sort of establishment, I make it a point to not let Scale influence me. I'm given a glass of mixed juice. It even has an orange slice wedged onto the rim of the glass. All right, let's hear this. Let's hear what Scale has to say here. I'm not sure what he can really do to talk us out of voting him up, but we'll find out. I thank him for it, and then Scale gets right to the point. Yeah, we know about this, Mr. Paparazzi guy. I question your sense of justice. But let's see what what your offer is. I want to stay on the side of justice as much as possible. And what does that entail exactly? The idea of justice in our world has been debated to the point that it's become somewhat irrelevant, but I'm a firm believer that there's no ideal definition of what is and isn't just. Great, subjective ethics. For example, let's say a young boy takes revenge on the person who murdered his parents by killing the killer. Both acts are criminal, but can you say the boy's an evil person for doing so? I can't. What's important is their mindset when doing so. He may have committed a crime, but I would say the boy's actions were just. Sorry, but I'm not quite understanding you. What is it you're trying to tell me? I once figured out that both Alan and Federico were evil, but when I considered what happened to them in their lives, I've come to think that maybe they are in fact just. Now to get to my point, don't you think we should all try to elect to protect ourselves? Okay, again, you heard what Miharu said. Second of all, I'm not so sure about Federico being just. Alan, maybe. I think we've got some things to learn about him, and he's even had a change of heart that he's commented on a couple of times. Federico is still a mafioso. Like, yes, he's had regrets and he feels bad and, you know, he has morals and stuff, but to say he's a just person is a bit of a stretch. Yeah, exactly. You remember what Miharu told us, don't you? Divine selection is a ritual carried out to determine a vessel for the goddess. This is still weird. While true that we would be able to live on, Miharu made it clear that things will become tenuous if more than one participant remains. Again, the situation we're shooting for and the one that happened to Miharu are very different, but again, what would happen if there was more than one person? Parka's not going to live in all of them. Is she going to let them all get away with it? And if she could let them all get away with it, then what's the point of the ritual? Let's just meet for 12 weeks and then she picks one. We don't need to have a killing game. She can just hold job interviews. You know, why do people need to die? I think I mentioned this in another video quite a while ago, but I noticed how the game, every time there was an election and someone died, there was a light that got stronger and brighter and almost thicker in the upper stratum. Does she require the souls of the people that have died in order to sustain this system, in which case she needs 11 deaths for this to work? I don't know. There's a lot of questions still. Miharu made it clear that things will become tenuous if more than one participant remains. That's why I'm saying we should try it. Parka allowed us to consider the possibility by hinting at its existence. Technically, she didn't hint at it. Someone asked about it, and Parka was like, don't know. We can decide what to do following that once we see what she does. Truth of the matter is that there's nothing else we can do until then. There's the possibility that it's all a ruse, too. She did only say that we would cross that bridge if we ever came to it after all. Yep. Simon's been saying that for a while. Being vague may have been her way of making us avoid that outcome in the first place. What are you implying? What if Parker herself would disappear if she's unable to determine a soul vessel to inhabit? I gulp way too loudly. He thinks Parka would actually disappear? Miharu said she could only sustain herself for 12 weeks. Again, we don't really know the mechanics of that, but theories abound. That's a bit much for me to process. This is completely beyond us in every area, so again, all bets are off when it comes to what happens in this dream world. I guess it's a bit easier to grasp when you consider the fact that she has to remain there. At the same time, I'd much rather understand what becoming her vessel entails, along with why she has to rely on the body of a human in the first place. Yep, also all good questions. I wonder if we're going to ask these questions at the next Divine Selection. Are we going to be a little bit nosier? Also, I had this thought between videos too. I keep commenting on how people are getting mouthy with Parka sometimes, especially Odette, and also Miharu, but now I realize Miharu wasn't getting lippy with Parka. She was familiar with Parka. They've been talking for 17 years. So it may have made sense for Odette to do it because of her personality. Miharu picking this, being cheeky with a goddess seems a little bit weird considering Maharu's personality, but when you realize that they know each other, now all of a sudden it makes a little more sense. There's a lot I want to go back and watch the earlier videos, knowing what I know now, because there's a lot of things that, in a different context or knowing the backgrounds of certain people, you start to realize certain reactions in a different light. I'm not confident that everything would go smoothly in the first place, but, well, the 5 of us made it this far. Wouldn't you say we've got it in us to make it past anything at this point? His voice is full of confidence, and some sort of weird surfer accent. The way he speaks reminds me of those politicians who go around and make public speeches. Again, this guy's a paparazzi. He's going to know how to be able to just kind of worm his way around. He's going to know how to, do things like talk his way past managers or security. He's gonna have a smooth silver tongue here. So, politician is not entirely incorrect. Chances are good that I can't conceal my suspicion toward him with that image in mind. Yeah, but it's also not an inaccurate image. I'm well aware that you can't trust me, considering I tried to elect Maharu despite our alliance. Hardly a just act on my part, after all. That's why I'd like you to hear about my life first. You likely have all my info at this point anyway, so I don't need to worry about handing you any new cards. Yeah, that's true. He can do whatever he wants and say whatever he wants to justify whatever he wants, and he doesn't have to be guarded because we got his stuff. I say nothing, but he opts to continue anyway. Again, I suspected that we would learn more about Scale. If that happens now, maybe he will get elected next Divine Selection, because all this stuff will be covered, but we'll see. Let's hear more. My name's Scale Jones, born September 30th, making me a Libra. His life story follows. I sleep through it. He was born in America, along the outskirts of Texas to be precise. His childhood was as normal as could be. He lived a simple life with his parents, an older brother, and a dog. However, comparisons between him and his brother became common as he grew up. Not only was his brother always top of his class, he was exceptionally skilled at any and all sports. Yeah, again, we're getting to that passion about the sports that was hinted at. He was even on par with Scale's own friends on the football team who had been scouted. Scale was compared to his brother at every turn due to this, which became a source of stress for him. It led to him coming to hate the brother he once spent so much time with as a child. However, it was a camera that saved him from all that. His parents bought him one for his 14th birthday, which he became obsessed with. He was able to find joy in taking pictures. His parents soon came to understand that he was gifted with immense artistic sense. He was different from his brother, and his parents began to accept that. Apparently it was Scale's own brother who suggested the camera to his parents, as they were at a loss as to what to get him. That caused Scale's hate to turn to respect. His interest shifted toward advertising following this. Thus, he made his way to the city to study graphic design at a local college. He did this because he figured it would be hard to earn a living solely through taking pictures. His goal was to learn how to make the most from the pictures he would take. I was always called out to the matches our schools were part of in high school due to everyone knowing about my hobby. I wasn't too pleased with that in all honesty. Things changed when I went to college and started living on my own, though. Felt like a whole new world opened up for me. That was the moment I realized just how engaging it could be to capture big moments in sports. Each and every moment was valuable, though. You'd never capture the best shot without proper knowledge and experience, not to mention luck. You really do love it, huh? That's my honest impression based on his facial expression as he talks about it. I mean, his regret was not photographing a gold medal moment, so clearly he has a sincere passion. He's almost like a little kid telling someone about their favorite toy. It's nothing like the impression I got from our search for his information and what Alan shared with me. He's very human, I guess. Aren't we all? I doubt I need to explain the rest to you when you have all 3 of my cards, but I will say that the Olympics is the pinnacle of athletic activity to me. I always wanted to capture the moment someone from my country won a gold medal, so much so that it became my regret. However, he moved into the entertainment industry after a brief stint at a newspaper. To be more blunt, he became a paparazzi. Yeah, let's see how that changed your attitude. He made sure to detail that too. It turned out that the father of one of his friends, who had been employed at a real estate firm, was a famous actor. However, the paparazzi had evidence of him committing adultery. What's more, it turned out it wasn't a single affair. He had been seeing others for years, and even had an illegitimate child. I'm not too familiar with foreign films and stuff, but even I'd heard of the person before. Not only did the mass media close in on my friend, he had to deal with harassment as well. Mostly by those close to the illegitimate child. None of it was major, but it piles up nonetheless. Turns out that person was pretty horrible too. He was jealous of my friend and the career he'd built for himself. His logic was that there shouldn't be such a big difference between their lives when the same blood runs through their veins. Of course, the real difference was the amount of effort put in just to get to where they were. Some of the harassment constituted minor offenses too. It all ate away at my friend until he eventually chose to kill himself. Yeah, that'll happen. Twitter drama be like that. Ironically, that served as the trigger to wrap the whole scandal up. I bet you're wondering why I'd become a paparazzi after hearing that, though. It made more sense for me to hate them, wouldn't it? Well, yeah. I'm of the mind that my friend's father was most at fault. None of it would have happened if he hadn't cheated. There can't be evidence of something that never took place after all. Yes and no. I mean, on the one hand, yes, it's the dude's father's fault for having the kid and committing adultery and all that stuff, and you can't really blame other people from just gathering evidence on it. On the other hand, if he's getting harassed and all this stuff, that's not cool either. That's not how you go about that. Celebrities have the opportunity to fix their attitude should they be involved in a public scandal. That's why I see the paparazzi as more of a force that can stop them from doing what they shouldn't. That's an interesting justification. I still think the paparazzi do a lot of things they shouldn't as far as sticking their nose in other people's affairs. Again, if you're committing minor offenses, then you can't really say that you're doing just stuff. That's why I feel that my decision to become one was just. Not that I expect you to accept that logic. With that, Scale's lengthy monologue ended. We're still waiting for the secrets, though. He's got something he's not telling us that's a little more mean-spirited, I think. I know I suspect even little poor innocent Sonia, but we know this guy's holding back because of comments already been made. I now know a side of him that I never would have learned otherwise. See, he's probably just trying to manipulate you so you don't vote him out, because you keep having this problem, Rinka, of growing close to people and then hesitating to vote them out. He's going to take advantage of that if you're not careful. He has his own convictions, his own way of life. I can't say I understand or feel for him, but I can't deny that he's gone through his fair share in life. Well, good knowing you. Smell you later 2 days from now. Electing Maharu was proof of my weakness. I feared the idea of her being able to gather my information with ease, and that fear drove me away from justice. To that end, I can honestly say that I'm glad she was able to protect herself. That relief brought me back to the side of justice. Now I want to make the right choice, which is for all of us to survive. Again, I'm not buying this necessarily. Federico saw through this guy, basically said he was lying at every turn. And I don't really see why we should believe him either, considering that he probably is a fairly smooth talker, considering his background and all the other comments made. So please, believe me. Scale places his arms to his sides and bows deeply. He must have done some research on the best way to influence people from Japan. I was about to say, this American here is, they don't do that where you're from, buddy. I believe you. Rinka, you naive, sweet, poor summer child. There's no hesitation in my response. I already know how I feel about him. I'm still voting you up. It was the answer I decided on as soon as you started his story. Perhaps since he called me, even. I trusted you would say that. Thank you. But I pass. Yeah, you're getting voted up anyway. Fuck you. Huh? Oh, look at that face. He's not happy. Huh? As much as I believe you, as much as you've convinced me that you're as human as I am, it doesn't matter. My decision has been made. Even I'm surprised at how cold I sound right now. Yeah, like Psy'Min Sezz earlier. I specifically said you're sounding pretty cold. Boy, it's almost like she's a mirror of Alan, because Alan went cold and then started changing his mind, and like you said to Federico, sort of going back to the way he used to be. Rinka, I mean, she's still sticking to her conventions. It's not like she's changed, but she used to be much more hesitant about voting people out and, you know, making people curry for dinner. And now she's just like, yeah, nah, sorry. Cool story, bro. Literally. Cool story, bro. Cool story, surfer bro. I never knew I had it in me to speak in this tone. Yeah. What? Again, why? I really want to know why you didn't do that on Sunday. I also want to know what Scale's going to do over the next day and a half, because you are now motivating him heavily to take some sort of action. Sorry, bro. I'm going to elect you. I chug what remains of my juice. The tart flavor makes me wince a little. Following that, I ask the bartender the price and then hand him over 1,200 yen. About as pricey as you'd expect from this kind of place. I thought he was treating us. Is that why we're voting him out? I'm glad I was able to get to know you. Now I'm sure that I won't forget you after I eliminate you. I mean, if we're going to respect Scale's sense of justice and right and wrong and all that, he's got to respect ours too. We're not being mean. We're respecting him as a human. We will go out of our way to never forget him, but we're going to eliminate him. He's out. He's out skis. I leave a dumbfounded Scale behind after I walk away. Your silver tongue didn't work. Part of my doing that is to avoid him trying to convince me otherwise, as that's the sort of person he is. I knew how I was going to respond, but I'd be lying if I said my conviction didn't waver as I heard him out. I know I'm a big softy. It's in my blood after all. Yeah, again, she's definitely getting colder. Not in a way that's unjustified, to be fair. The hustle and bustle of the streets outside is as loud as expected. And yet I somehow feel like I can hear a scream of pure anguish come from inside the bar. Okay, maybe he doesn't have a plan. Maybe we've... Boy, that was a quick arc. I said at the beginning of the video I felt like he had more in him. Not much more. I grit my teeth and make my way back home. Are we going to lose Federico and Scale next election? Maybe Alan won't quite figure out Federico's regret. I doubt that. That really doesn't seem likely, but it's possible. But I do feel like it's really going to come down to Alan, Maharu, and Rinka. And then Alan's going to do something crazy because it's endgame do or die. And he's not going to give us the luxury of getting the goods on him first. I don't think he knows that we know his cause of death. He knows that Shigetsugu died holding his regret card, which is probably a slight comfort. But, I have no right to feel bad about the decision I've made. I know that. But I can't help but place a shaking hand over my shaking heart. Hey man, it's rough. It's pressure, it's stressful. Oh, speaking of the devil, speaking of Alan. Oh, Scale's been doing some running around trying to negotiate this stuff. I wonder what Alan's response to him was. Alan Scorpion finds himself recalling the visit he received from Scale Jones, who sought to exchange information 1 day ago. He is alone and in the same warehouse as usual. Maybe Scale was trying to get info on Rinka, trying to backstab, protect himself, and when he couldn't, then he was like, well, you know what? I've had a change of heart. Very convenient, I know, but hear me out. This gutted, abandoned place has become something akin to a home for him. Quite the contrast to what he was used to living in, due to the fortune he had built up with his business. Oh, Alan knows about this. Oh, this information is now common knowledge. Oh, Alan is Mr. I Take No Guff. During these proceedings, he's going to have questions for Parka for sure. Interesting. Yeah, I think Parka's going to be getting a little bit quizzed during the next divine selection. Whether she cares, whether she keeps a cool head and doesn't give two craps, whether she just doesn't answer anything, or whether she gets flustered herself. Huh, interesting. A vessel for the goddess. Alan knows about this now. What he heard from Scale was rather hard to believe. I mean, everything we've been doing is rather hard to believe. This is barely a step over that. The last remaining participant will become the means that allow Parka to remain in the real world. He was ready to chalk it up as nonsense at first, but he reconsidered once he learned that the claim came from Hebinata Maharu. He had his doubts about both the idea of divine selection occurring before this and Maharu being its survivor, but after some consideration, he's decided to believe it. It wouldn't make sense to believe in the dream world, but deny other abstract concepts surrounding this goddess. Yeah, again, you've already gone so far as to be playing this game with a god and all this other stuff. I mean, we're really not stretching too much further past the point of disbelief here. Scale had a suggestion to go along with the information he provided too. It involved getting information out of Shishimai Rinka by proposing the idea that everyone could survive. Aha! He was fishing for info. I knew he couldn't be trusted. Yeah, you sit there and scream, asshole. Alan had thought of this once before himself. It is possible to create a situation where no one can elect another person. Starting with numeral 1, all they would have to do is elect the following numeral, who would then protect themselves until the clock's rotation was complete. In the proposed situation, Scale would pretend to have formed an alliance with Alan and Federico, and they would get the required information from her. The information would then be used to elect Rinka. A simple con, really. Ah. You disgusting bastards. So the plan would be to nominate in rotation, which isn't really necessary, but I guess could be done. But that would hinge on Alan electing Rinka at the end, which would hinge on Alan having Rinka's info, which they would then try to get out of her and say that that was the reason. And, okay, Rinka may be a naive, sweet summer child, but she's not that stupid. She's naive, but she's not dumb. Nice try, boyzo. Scale's suggestion was one Alan might have gone along with if he had made it sooner. Or perhaps he would have gone along with it now had the target not been Rinka. In other words, he turned down Scale's proposal. It's almost time. It is a Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Is it Friday? It is Friday. Get me back here. Resume. It's almost time. Alan produces a card as he speaks to himself. Federico's regret? Is it Federico's regret? Yep. Federico's regret was what he revealed to Scale in exchange. Oh, did he just get his regret card from Scale? Federico's regret was what he revealed. Oh, never mind. I read that wrong. So he did get Federico's regret from the ring, and he gave that regret. He told it to Scale in exchange for the information about the vessel of the goddess. Alan was able to discern it when he learned that Federico's ring was an old wedding band. So, again, as expected, Alan is in a perfect position to vote Federico out. However, he also came to learn that Federico had no history of being married. What's more, the ring was made before he was even born. Ah, well, Alan's not going to care because all he needs are the rings. Oh, or he did the research and sussed out what things were about anyway. In that case, it had to be his mother's. Ah, upon further research, he discovered that Federico was taken from his mother at a young age. There's no record of her death, though. Oh, don't tell me that, game. Don't tell me that. Who's his mother? We're going to find her, aren't we? Alan came to the conclusion that his regret involved meeting his mother once more. Lo and behold, he was correct. He didn't get a chance to meet his mother, or he met her and regretted it. He shared that information with Scale. However, his eyes are set on the future, not the past. Whose? Alan knows that, based on his experience with you, a person's card will change to reflect their new regret. Oh, the card might change? At first he thought it was only due to you being a child, but even adults are subject to this should something cause a significant impact and alter the values they hold. I kind of wondered if Federico's regret would change after the incident with Odette. Because he got rattled hard. I wonder if that's what Alan is implying. Not only is the concept of regret dictated by one's own personal perception, but they also serve as a sort of emotion. That's fine with me. If it disappears, then all I need to do is find it again. You've got to... Wow. Alright. Well, you tempted fate on that one, buddy. Soon after he says this, the card in his hand dissipates into little droplets of light. Okay. Okay. So maybe Federico lives another week, and our designated dead boy is Scale. Scale's going to get voted out. We're going to stick to one person a week, and Federico's going to be lasting. Is he actually going to go through some sort of redemption? Well, now, Someone won't be happy about this. Yeah, Scale's going to be like, what was that sound in my bag just now? Maybe that's why he screamed in the bar. Or maybe that was part of it. Who knows? Someone won't be happy about this. Funnily enough, we actually haven't had a perspective from Scale yet, if I'm not mistaken. We've had no POV from his perspective. Alan, rather frequently. Maharu, off and on. Rinka, obviously. Federico, quite a bit. In fact, he was the first one. But not Scale. I wonder if that's going to happen. Alan knows that Scale will be furious when the information he gained from their exchange disappears like this. Yeah, you just gave something for nothing there, buddy. That was a bad trade. That Pokemon card turned out it got banned. Sorry. He's likely to figure out that Alan offered it to him knowing this would happen, too. Would he figure that out? Maybe. I mean, who cares? You were intending to vote him out anyway. Of course, well, yeah, I guess it does matter who votes out who, because Alan wants all the information and all the cards. He wants to be the one that votes people out because he gets knowledge from it. I don't think Federico's any... Yeah, Federico's gone out of his way to say he doesn't have any cards that are worth a damn anymore anyway, so who cares? Of course, I doubt he has the luxury of worrying about that. Yep, Scale is screwed. Alan has a decent grasp of Scale's current situation. Screwed. Current status, screwed. He doesn't have Scale's cards himself, but it's easy to assume that Maharu does, having survived a election by him. Alan knows for a fact that this applies to Rinka as well. As such, it's likely that Scale will try to target her. Well, I mean, that was part of the whole deal, right? I already know where I stand. Do you? Yeah, I don't think you know that Maharu has one of your cards. He sounds content with his decision, thinking back to the fire he saw in Rinka's eyes. We're going to election. We got 2 more days. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What are we doing back here? Who's I? This could be Scale. This could be Federico. This could be damn near anybody. I find myself peering down on the city alone. Federico? Tokyo Tower is famous enough that even I know about it. You can see the entirety of Tokyo from its observatories. Okay, Federico or Scale. Almost 2 months have passed since I first came to this country with Odette. Okay, Federico, as I thought. Assuming everything goes smoothly, there will only be 4 more rounds of divine selection. I guess enough's enough. That was a Scale voice. I guess enough's enough. This is the only guy that doesn't know about the Vessel of the Goddess thing. He's also likely to be in possession of his own regret card, so would he know about it exploding? He might feel better about that, knowing then that Alan walked away technically empty-handed, even if he found the ring. But again, what's Federico's change of heart? What's he up to? What's his focus now? I guess enough's enough. I like how I've given him this voice, which is nowhere near Italian, but is kind of mafioso, but just probably closer to a Texas accent than what I've given Scale. Anyway, now that we know that Scale's from Texas. It would have been all over for me yesterday if I was the same guy as before. It would have been all over for you yesterday? If you were the same guy as before? What happened yesterday? Are we... Saturday. Does he know his cards exploded? Tell me you know your cards exploded. I've done nothing but mull things over since eliminating Odette. I even cut out Scale. I'm genuinely on my own now. That's allowed me to notice something, though. Feelings inside me I hadn't realized were there. No. You leave Maharu alone. You put those feelings back. It was exciting to know that I'd finally reached the answer I've been searching for, but it came with a sense of loneliness. It all came to a head last night. Did Scale visit you too? No, he knows. He does know. My regret card disappeared. I guess that would be something that would make you feel good, wouldn't it? I mean, Shigetsugu died with no regrets, and Sonia went out on her own terms, just like Odette did. But knowing, like, Federico's commented on his regret before, but the fact that his regret card disappeared. Like, is he in Rinka's situation from before where even he doesn't know what his regret is anymore? In any case, he's going to be real hard to vote out now with 1 day left to go, so I think Scale's the one who's gone. Federico's going to stick around, and we'll see if he becomes a little bit less of a bitch. Oh, in its place arrived a new card with new content. Tell me. Success. Is that your regret, or you're just happy? Kind of ironic, really. Did you do that intentionally? Yeah, if you did it intentionally, you're more cunning than I gave you credit for. Did he go out of his way to destroy his regret card? It's the one thing I'd always wanted. I've been a loser my entire life. Yep. Psy'Min says that all the time. Nothing changed when I grew up. Nothing changed when I joined and then tried to leave the Mafia. Yeah, that must have been part of why he was on the run with Odette. Sure as hell didn't change after becoming a participant in Divine Selection. Part of me figured it'd be all right, though. Even if I was a loser, I'd come out on top at the end. I was sure I'd have the last laugh. I have myself chalked up as the protagonist of this world. Well, you have protag swapped a couple of times, but I realized that was far from the truth thanks to Odette's elimination, though. I never once thought about succeeding or winning. All I've ever done is run away. Well, I was wrong. This entire time, deep down, I knew just how pathetic and worthless I was. I've been watching the Let's Play. I've been listening to Psy'Min. I've been averting my eyes from the truth until now. Oh, he's found his conviction. Okay, so, again, I started this video thinking Federico's spirit was broken and his cards were found and he's effed next Sunday. Turns out, not so much. Not only is his spirit not broken, they don't have his cards, and he's found a will to win, too. Unfortunately, the more people that we are finding with this will to win, the more dangerous it's going to be getting for our actual protag. People are starting to take this extra seriously. I'll win. I'll win no matter what. I don't have time to dwell on the past. It doesn't matter if I'm not the main character. Stop breaking the fourth wall, Federico. You're not nearly cool enough to do that. I just want to say that I've made it. I knew it. I've been looking up to her the entire time. Federico makes his way from the observatory toward the emergency staircase. He casts his eyes up at the blue sky, inhales deeply, then exhales. I doubt we'll see each other again. Is he talking about his mom? Yep, he takes out the ring he's kept close to him all this time and throws it at the horizon. Well, that's a nice scene. That's nice and symbolic. Federico notices something important. This is the moment when his life could truly begin. Days before he gets voted out. Good job, Federico. Nice timing. We're not done yet. We got a little time left. Oh, yeah, he found out his card's gone. Okay, Scale is pissed. Federico was pissed during the last Divine Selection. Now it's Scale's turn to be pissed. Let's see if we can ride this. Like, this is Saturday. What's Scale going to do? We might have a lot that comes up before the next Divine Selection. We might be able to end the video just before it. Let's see. Did he trick me? Alan, you fucker! While shuffling through the cards in his possession, Scale witnesses Federico's regret card vanishing before his eyes. Yeah, they do that. He obtained that card in exchange for invaluable information regarding Divine Selection. Its disappearance leaves him more agitated than he was already. I mean, what were you going to do with that? Let's be honest. His agitation stems from his failure to form an alliance with Psy'Min Rinka. He never once doubted that everything would go according to plan. Well, you might have wanted to have some doubts there, buddy. It was a bad plan. After all, he had heard about her interactions with and attachments to previous participants. So he was trying to take advantage of her soft heart. Yeah, you should have tried this earlier, buddy. Maybe 2 weeks ago you would have had a shot. Numerals 8 and 10 came first. That would be Keiko and Sonia, obviously. But it extended even to numerals 4 and 5, which would be Yu and Shigetsugu. The former of which killed her classmate at one point. Yeah, no kidding. He had her pinned down as someone whose empathy prevented her from prioritizing herself at other people's expense. He even made up the story about his friend's death to take advantage of it. Aha! I knew you weren't to be trusted. Rinka had lost a friend before and is faced with the reality that another close friend is a participant in Divine Selection. Thus, why Scale thought using a story about his friend would influence her the most. You piece of crap. And I say that as someone who studies influence and persuasion. He was convinced she would be easy to manipulate. You noob. You should take my workshop. He knows for a fact that she believed his story. Yep. She believed it so much that she felt bad for his supposed loss. And with Rinka on his side, Maharu would be sure to follow. He knows that Maharu's regret is Shishimai Rinka herself. That's why he plotted to drag her in through Rinka. Okay, so he would probably know that because of... Well, he learned her cards, and we know he learned her cards. We've never had this explicitly pointed out, but we've theorized it in the past, that Miharu's regret would be Shishimai Rinka. That is zero surprise. The risk of both his own election and his information becoming privy to others would decrease through their alliance. Once that was sorted, he would get in contact with Federico again. He would provide him with Maharu's information and have him elect her. If everything went according to plan, the next round would see him elect Rinka, Federico elect Maharu, and Alan elect Federico. Oh, wow. Okay, this... You know what? I'll give you props for thinking it through. That's a thing. That is a way things could go. But you can't elect Rinka now. Federico's not going to elect Maharu, and Alan can no longer elect Federico, so 3 strikes, leaving only Alan and himself. Scale knows Alan has the means to gather information on others. Even if Alan has all of Scale's cards, all Scale would have to do is gather Alan's. He had already prepared himself to deal with whatever Parka had in store for when elections were no longer possible. Yeah, I guess he was kind of going for that stalemate, too. That was his plan to survive divine selection. Since when did Rinka get so resolute? Why did things turn out like this? She made it crystal clear that she would elect him despite her newfound sympathy. Scale remains incredulous. It's like, I can't manipulate her. What do I do? Even so, he isn't one to let others decide his fate. He did say he wouldn't threaten Naomi for the time being. Is he going to? Is that going to happen? You don't have much time, buddy. Being at a standstill is his worst fear. A cameraman can't afford to give up so fast. He is the living definition of never giving up. Well, in another day or so, you won't be the living definition of never giving up anymore, and then you can give up. I know what I'm doing is right. There's nothing more just than wanting to live. Yeah, everyone else wants to live too, buddy. The biggest issue right now is his impending election by Rinka. Hey, be grateful you got another week. I still think you got off lucky. Her desperation when it came to saving her classmate was a sign that she's prone to being reckless for the sake of those close to her. Yep, here we go. Run, Naomi. Scale did his homework on those who would... Scale did his homework on who those people would be to her. Okay, that's a sentence, but it kind of threw me. That includes her sole surviving family member, of course. Well, butts. Alright, well, we were right to not involve Gran because it was going to put her in danger, but it sounds like she's going to be in danger anyway. This includes her sole surviving family member, of course. Well, this is going to be bad. What's going to happen? You're about to get a phone call, and you're not going to like it, Rinka. You know what? I kind of like that as a cliffhanger. It's been an hour. I have a feeling quite a bit is going to happen over the next 24 hours. Scale is going to move fast. There's going to be some stuff. There's going to be reactions. I think we got another episode in us before divine elections or divine selection starts for the next week. So we'll cut it off here. Yeah, things are moving. Things are interesting. I still think Scale's gone, but what's going to be the aftermath? What's he going to do to try to stop it? How is Rinka going to get hurt? What else is going to happen? And what's Federico going to do? And what's Alan going to do? And what are we going to say to Parka the next time we see her? We're going to be like, so, vessels. Want to talk about vessels for a bit? Anyway, I guess we'll cut it off here. Look forward to the next episode. Make sure you're following on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. Subscribe. It costs you nothing, and it helps me out a lot. I really do appreciate it. And stop by sometime in one of the streams. Let yourself be known. Be part of the community. I really want to get to know you if you haven't already. Take care. I'll see you next time. Have a fantastic frickin' week.